Okay, good evening, everyone.
I'll get you one from downstairs.
Okay, good evening to our full room here at the Amore restaurant in Rockville, Maryland, as well as our 30 chapter members on Zoom. Welcome to our December member appreciation dinner and also our $10 holiday special for those who could join us. So, Matt Lowy, your chapter president, who has the honor and privilege of leading this chapter and making sure that you're getting your value. Our chapter motto is it's all about the members, so we're here because of you. So welcome to everyone. And a round of applause to our great team here who's kept us well fed and well hydrated. Okay, it's always good to start a meeting with a joke, but we're going to start with an apology. PMI Global changed the way that PDUs are mass distributed and accounted for. So we know we owe you for September, October, and November. I was hoping to pull off this today so I could be like, ta-da, but instead. For anyone who did lapse on their certification renewal because of this, if that's the case, we can make that right. And by Friday, September, November, October, and December should be processed. And this image is from AI, so AI knows what I look like based on all the AI images I make, but it doesn't know the difference between a professional development unit and a PDU for electricity. But for those who think that AI is going to take their job, we're still a little bit away. So. We thank everyone for bringing in items to help support our Montgomery County Toys for Tots drive, as well as our family services organizations. So many of you brought things in at the front, so we appreciate that. And then special thanks to everyone for their generous donations to the Manna Food Center last month. We were joined by Mr. Craig Rice, who had an impassioned plea that really drove home what food poverty is like right now in Montgomery County. I've watched that twice on a YouTube recording because it was that powerful of a message. But as customary, there's my picture at the food center dropping off the food. So, I didn't take it home to feed my own family. And we filled up almost a full bin. That bin's like pretty far off the ground. So I think it was a pretty good turnout. I think one can may have fallen out my trunk, but it wasn't intentional. Okay, if everybody could pull out their book raffle tickets. Okay, for those who were able to join our summer virtual education day, I had the honor and pleasure of hosting a fireside chat with Dr. Amy Hamilton. And she was generous enough to donate some signed books that we'll be raffling off tonight and at our February meeting. So she's drafted 3 books in the professional development space, one of which is the Consummate Communicator. We have those in paperback signed, and then the Project Management, Life as a Project in hardcover. So our first winner is...
Okay, last 4, 7691. 7691.
7691. Okay, we got close. Okay. If by chance they're in the bathroom, we'll...
7687.
Hey, we have a winner. Great. Sometimes it pays to get here right on time. Interested in which one? This one. Okay, great. Our next winner is
7699.
we have a trend here. Whichever. You want to talk for a moment? Okay, great. Okay, we're
Right. 7629.
hey, winner in the back. And then our last winner of the evening.
Okay, 7658.
Hey! Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, and for the 90% of the room that didn't win, there's always next time. So. Okay, our chapter board of officers nomination window is still open. We've added a vice president of marketing and vice president innovation technology to our board, and then up for re-election is the vice president of communications and the vice president of special projects and operations, as well as the vice president of membership. So that'll be in the newsletter if you're interested in being part of the team. If you don't want to commit for the 2-year cycle, we can still work with you on that. So don't be fearful of, I don't want to sign up till 2028. We'd appreciate the help now and can work with you on that. You'll also be receiving an email with the chapter bylaws from PMI Global. This keeps us in business as a nonprofit. The only thing that's changed is the added positions to the board. But there's some people that likes to read bylaws. I don't necessarily have to write them, but it was a fun exercise. But stay tuned for that email in the coming weeks as well. Okay, we've postponed this from the original date of November because of it would have been the 3rd day of business coming out of the furlough and the federal shutdown. And then we were hopeful we could come up with a date in December, at least a week before Christmas, but weren't able to. So we'll have a date for January, but this will be our next virtual event from the county to Capitol Hill, project management in the public arena. So stay tuned for that. If you've already registered, your registration will carry over. So we hope to have a date for that in the coming weeks. Saturday, February 21st, the Saturday after President's Day, Project Management for Change is having their annual Project Management Day of Service. This is where experienced project managers work with local nonprofits or small businesses. They bring a problem that they're trying to solve. A lot of these are one executive director and maybe like 2 board members, but these aren't like well-oiled machine nonprofits, but they're passionate about their cause and they're trying to make a difference. So seasoned project manager that we're all pretty good problem solvers. So that's just a day of partnership at the student union at University of Maryland. So in early January, registration will open up for project management volunteers. There's PDU opportunities, network opportunities, and you can pat yourself on the back at the end knowing that you made a difference. So stay tuned for that. Congrats to our newly certified members who got a certification in November. Round of applause for them. Good amount of people are getting the PMP. We'll talk about the future of the PMP here in a minute. 2 members got the new cognitive project management and AI certification. I unfortunately still haven't, but I have 3 more weeks before I have to pay again. So, so hopefully at our February meeting when we're back together face to face, we'll show all the December and January certified people and I'll be on there. If not, I'll continue to put myself in red. As don't sign up for a certification if you don't have a plan on how to test out for it. So, lesson learned. True. And then the CAPM people are still who may not have the experience needed to qualify for the PMP, but they at least have a year of experience, can still get the certified associate in project management. So that's good to see that there's still that vested interest in our industry to show that you have an interest in initial acumen, but you may not be a PMP just yet. So for those who are studying, including myself, keep up the good work. Okay, the day that everyone's waited for came true 2 weeks ago. PMBOK version 8 was available for a free download from your PMI account. If you want to send this as a lovely Christmas gift, unfortunately, Amazon won't have the hard copy until after the holiday period. But you can download this now. And even though you're supposed to only use it for personal use, like if you have a team site that you, or a Teams channel that you share at work, you can post it on there and it'll remove the password protection. But as we evolve as project managers, the body of knowledge also evolves. So new chapters are value delivery systems, principles, life cycles, performance domains, and tailoring. There is a little bit about AI, but they still kind of want to do it the hard way and show your work and not just have learning model do everything for you. But that's available. I am working on having one of the authors have a virtual lunch and learn in between now and our February face-to-face to go over those changes. And then the test will be on the new curriculum by summer of 26. So you're studying for a PMP. If you have staff that's studying, it's probably better to, if they've already attended a boot camp, to take the exam before June or July when it's based on the new curriculum. Show of hands, who's going to race home tonight and start reading? Okay, we have a couple. Okay, does anyone need a job or have a job that they want to come up and give an elevator speech for? Go ahead, Ms. Reaver. Okay. So in-person opportunity, 410 schedule out of Frederick, Maryland. For those who are interested virtually, please put something in chat and we'll connect. Okay, the latest job report recently came out, so things are slowly getting a little bit better. I think the federal government's stabilized for now. And for all our furloughed employees, welcome back, and hopefully we don't go through this again in the winter. Okay, if you need PDUs, granted, the people that are still waiting for September, October, and November, like we need PDUs, but we're one of the few chapters in the world that post all of our content via our Zoom simulcast on our YouTube channel, and there's PDU claim codes there as well. So if you find yourself with some downtime during the holidays for use or lose and or need PDUs, this is a good resource. Yep.
I think we had maybe 3 people over here that got missed.
Oh. Oh, for jobs. Great. Sorry about that. If you guys want to come up, my apologies.
I skipped the public speaking thing, so pardon me for that. But so I'm a IT program manager and mostly focused on cyber, but strategic planning, operations, risk, all those bits. Spent a lot of time in DoD with the Navy, other defense agencies, but also federal civilian. Open opportunities, whether that be contractor, government, or even private, working in that area. So anybody has anything sitting up here, and again, Dave Campbell, like the soup. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Daniela Gergusmel, and I used to joke that my pronoun is PMO. So I don't have a job. I need a job. And I've been specializing in creation, maturing, and improving and managing, of course, running PMOs for over 10 years, probably closer to 15 years now. And this passion for the PMO, that you would see that word comes from the fact that it allows me to wear all my hats and all my tools and use all my tools in my tool belt. And this includes project management, program management, portfolio management, business process improvement, Lean Six Sigma, and last but not least, organizational change management, OCM, ProSci. Probably some of you know the name. And what else? I used to work for a company, and I'm gonna say just the name, and probably that's gonna be enough. It was called Institute of International Education. I think I said everything with this. I used to service contracts, grants and contracts from government agencies such as USAID, Department of Education, DHS, DOD. Okay, so I'll stop there. Thank you. I would appreciate very much an opportunity. I really have a passion for PMO, and I think I was born with an eye for process improvement. Basically, there is no place where I've worked that I couldn't see a single place where I could put my finger and say, "Oh, we can improve this." And I'm talking about improvements of metrics and KPIs in the range of 35 to 85%. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eri, Eri. I currently am applying. Well, I need a job. So I don't have any jobs open. But I recently got my PMP last month. Oh, well, not last month, October. Thank you. So yeah, I've been working in different industries for a while. Like I've been in finance, real estate, different industries. And one thing that I do very well is that I'm versatile. Like I can adapt to different um, types of industries. I've also worked in real estate, like I said, finance. Yeah, and I have a lot of experience. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, so keep in mind these motivated, well-seasoned professionals as you see opportunities. Okay, our latest video to get posted to our chapter YouTube channel is our November meeting. We're again joined by Dr. Jeffrey Jones, who moonlights as Chris Kringle. So if you want something fun for your office to give a history of a holiday tradition, that's a great video. Okay, we're also one of the few chapters in the world that have a sister Toastmasters group. So we'll welcome up their chapter representation and leadership. Round of applause for them.
Good evening, everyone. So I am the VPE, or the Vice President of Education, for the PMI-Montgomery County Toastmasters Group. And we meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month on Zoom virtually. And then we have one in-person meeting every third Wednesday of the month at Rockville Library. And our next meeting is next Wednesday from 7 to 8:30. So if anyone is interested, please stop by and see us. And I'm going to pass it on to our VP of Membership, Alan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Zheng. I'm the VP of Membership at PMI-Montgomery County Toastmasters Club. So thank you for allowing this opportunity for me to run a quick commercial because I'm here to recruit members. December is that special season when we gather with our families, look forward to a new year, and also reflect on the one that we just lived through. And let's be honest, 2025 has been quite a year. Many of us have faced challenges, surprises, and a few twists we didn't see coming. On a personal note, this year included the longest job search in my career. Also, several Toastmasters speech contests that brought home a few trophies. Of course, Toastmasters is not about trophies or winning. It's about growth. It is about improving your communication skills, one speech at a time. It's about becoming more confident, more apathetic, and more effective. Whether you are presenting to executives, leading a project team, or speaking at a job interview. December is also the season of gift. As you shop for presents for your family and friends, consider giving yourself a gift that enriches your personal life and strengthens your career. And yes, that gift is a Toastmasters membership. Unlike other gifts you can wrap with a ribbon, this is an investment that keeps paying you back through better communication and leadership skills. If you ever thought, maybe I'll try Toastmasters, but weren't sure where to start, talk to us after the meeting right there. We are happy to answer your questions and help you begin a new year with fresh confidence and stronger voice. Thank you and happy holiday.
And as 2026 begins and you set goals, we can all improve on public speaking, especially me. So keep the Toastmasters chapter in mind. Okay, our sister chapters are doing great things. PMI-WDC has a December holiday extravaganza at Pinstripes in Georgetown. So bowling, food, $55 if you're a non-member, but always good to network with other chapters, as well as be a steward for us. PMI Baltimore next Wednesday in their partnership with the Frederick National Lab for Cancer Research has a project management night out. This is a virtual event, virtual and in person. So that'll be on project managing your way to a less stressful week. Who's had a stressful week so far? Show of hands. Yeah, so about a quarter of the room. And at least another quarter is lying. So. And then our friends down 495 at PMI Silver Spring this Friday have a professional development mixer at Urban Winery of Silver Spring. Bad news, it's a cash bar, but good news is it's a networking opportunity on a Friday night. So our education partners are still doing great things. If you have an education and training allowance that expires at the end of the year with your company or agency, and even if you're not necessarily looking for a certification, but just a skill upkeep or want to use it, or out of 2026, still offering great virtual and in-person content. Okay, and now I'll invite our co-VP of programs, Mr. Bill Ziegler, up to introduce our speaker. Round of applause for him and Ms. Roxanne Angel, his partner in crime, who have delivered a great program schedule in 2025. So round of applause for them.
Hello. So our speaker tonight is Victor Belarmino. I've known Victor for a number of years. We were both program managers at a Native Hawaiian company for quite a while. Victor ran one of the divisions, I believe, cybersecurity and IT stuff. I ran the applied physics division, but we were part of the management team there. Great respect for Victor, and I hope he actually remembers his talk today. So, without further ado, let me introduce Victor.
Give me a second here to set up my notes. Oh, okay. Planning with a tablet on a podium. Good evening, everyone. So as thank you, Bill, for the introduction. I want to first express my gratitude for the invitation and to be here with the PMI Montgomery County chapter. I do have to say that when Bill asked me if I would consider coming to speak at the monthly meeting, I froze a little bit. First thing I had was a flashback to high school when I guess not necessarily volunteer, but voluntold to participate in the Optimist Club's oratorical competition. And I didn't think about that, because of the fact that my twin brother actually beat me in that competition. But I thought about it because of what I wanted to come speak about, and the topic of that speech was if I could see tomorrow. And I will tell you that I'm pretty sure I don't remember all of the details of the words of that speech, but I'm pretty sure that the tomorrow that I spoke about 30 something years ago was nowhere near what reality is today. And so, I do want to again thank Bill just for the opportunity, especially to come up here after everyone has had a hearty Italian meal. So I just have to keep your attention, but don't worry, the 50 slides I have will do. Where's everybody laughing? That wasn't a joke. No. So yeah, just a little quick bio about me. I grew up in a rather small town in Georgia, Macon to be exact. I don't know if you're not familiar with Macon, it's right in the middle of Georgia, about an hour and a half south of Atlanta. And went to undergrad in Atlanta, lived there for about 10 years until about, I think 2005 when I was introduced into the consulting world. And I took on a contract, I took on working on a contract for the DoD, and it was 100% travel. And so perfect opportunity for someone who didn't have a family and just got not too long out of school, get to travel and see a lot of different places, even though one of them was Valdosta, Georgia. And that, if anybody is familiar with Valdosta, Georgia, not quite the place that I was looking forward to. But then in 2007, that project brought me here to the National Capital Region. I was assigned over to the old Walter Reed as well as to Fort Belvoir. And so I was working there, and because I had all my stuff in storage on 100% travel, I decided, you know what, I like this area. I'm going to settle down here. And so I've been here ever since. But when I moved here is when I really got immersed into the whole project management consulting world. And I think that was one of the questions that I kept hearing constantly was, do you have your PMP? Right? And that was always the question, usually maybe not quite first, but usually about the second or third. They were asking if you had your PMP. And so one of the unique things about it is that once I did obtain my PMP, and it's kind of scary to think there's version 8 out now, and I think I got mine in version 3. So, um, you know, a lot of what I picked up and what I learned, the methodologies and the toolkits, pretty much applies to so many things. And what I'm here to talk about tonight is really about the how that toolkit or how the principles and methodologies still apply into an ever-changing landscape for us, right? And then to talk about in 2014, as Bill had mentioned, that's when I started with one of the Native Hawaiian organization owned companies. And so I started off working in 2014 within the organization that I am a part of now, and started off as a project manager for a small development team and worked my way up to a program manager. And as Bill mentioned, it was talking about, I've heard several references to being adaptable or having to adapt. It was the division I was a program manager for. Started off as mostly development, application development, and we had to pivot midway through towards digital solutions and data science and a lot of different other areas that were continuing to grow in prominence, right? And so after supporting several teams and working with different customers, different clients, whether it was across with DHS, Department of Labor, DOD, of course, and Department of Transportation. This past summer, July 1, actually, I embarked on a journey as a managing director for one of the youngest companies within the enterprise for Malina. And the parent organization is now Oikane, or NOK for short. And just a quick blurb on that is that they are a nonprofit organization that does focus on empowering the Native Hawaiian community. So through all of their programs and things that they fund, they do work with, like I said, empowering the Native Hawaiian community through programs, volunteers, services, and educational and professional development. So that being said, that out of the way, I'll start to with this handy dandy. Oh, okay. Challenges in today's project management. Just an overview of, I'm not going to go through all of the challenges that we face. Oh, I meant to keep going and I realized I was going to do a slow roll of my name, and that was for dramatic effect. So one of my first positions as a PM was to manage a small, like I said, application development team. While I would not call myself an expert, I could certainly understand the language of developers, architects, the database admins, and then translate it to the functional community. And that was kind of one of the things that I have always been good at. Not to brag, but I've always been able to translate between different groups, and so it was in that position where I really experienced a significant amount of change in the PM landscape. Right? It's one that has only evolved in an exponentially rapid pace. Slide here. If you're not familiar with this, with this slide, it is from the movie Back to the Future, right? I will say I'm a little bit disappointed because a lot of the things that they depicted in that movie, I don't have. I'm still waiting for my hoverboard. But nonetheless, it holds true that in my career and in my lifetime, the world has seen an explosion of technological advances, right? And it's only getting faster and faster. I am fortunate to have two young boys, ages 10 and 7, who continue to highlight how things have changed. Yes, they marvel at the fact that I was born in the 1900s. While they make it sound like it was, much longer than it really was. I was born in 1977. There are many things that put the rapid development of technology in perspective in just talking to them. My kids constantly struggle with the TVs in hotels. And I have to remind them at times that they are not broken, right? And I've had to explain that those 3 to 5 minute periods where they have to endure, those are called commercials. And you actually have to sit through it, and you can't just skip forward. My wife and I have had to teach them how to actually talk on a phone. Even though they won't ever experience the awkwardness of waiting for a phone call, racing to the phone to hear it when you hear it ring, only to pick up and your parent has picked up on the other phone in the house. And then one other example that I'll share is that we were in New York last week for the Thanksgiving Day parade. My kids will never know the agony of snapping a photo, dropping it off at a store to have the film developed, then waiting several days only to excitedly go to that picture and find out that it was blurry. So, and just thinking about things like that it's just kind of mind blowing in terms of how much has changed and how much continues to change. And so that's actually the first area that I want to talk about is rapid technological change. So fast evolving tools, AI automation, agile frameworks, and there's so much around AI. We could take probably a week just talking about it, and I won't do that here. But what it does is it forces PMs or project managers to keep learning and adapt. Right? Good example here is migrating legacy apps to the cloud using agile iterations, and then guess what? AWS releases an upgraded upgraded features and migration. And how do you adjust mid stride, right? And so being able to adjust the backlogs and incorporate enhancements throughout so that it doesn't back up any of the features. I mean, I can go on and on about that, but it goes without saying that, when I was managing the development team, we started off with an application on bare metal servers, which moved to a hosting facility and then eventually pushed to a cloud, all within a span of, I want to say, 4 years, 3 or 4 years, which can be pretty significant in terms of for those of you who have had to migrate to the cloud, know that there's a lot of challenges that come with that. But the bottom line is that as project managers, rapid developments in technology requires just continuous learning and remaining agile in order to rapidly adapt. One of the things I'll mention here is the toolkit. I mean, the discipline agile toolkit, from PMI, is that it does give you a goal-driven hybrid agile approach that lets teams choose the best way of working for rapidly changing technology. And that is one of the things that, bless you. Sorry, that got on YouTube, huh? So in the face of the change that we're seeing, it's only going to get exponentially faster if it's not already, right? There's always been there, even when I was managing this development team, at that time, natural language processing, machine learning, those concepts were still kind of shiny objects. And artificial intelligence was shiny objects. That was something that people just referred to in from the movies, right? And now we are here, but we also see how much that there's still a ways to go, based on the picture that Matt shared earlier of for his slide. So that's the first area that I wanted to touch on. And next area, you're on mute. How many times have we heard this since 2020? Probably hundreds of thousands of times. And I will say that I have been guilty of talking while on mute, and even sometimes forgetting that I'm not on mute. So I'm not sure that anyone can say that that the COVID pandemic did not have some kind of impact or change your life in any way. I know that I personally had or knew individuals that it gravely impacted them during that time. But we also saw how it completely disrupted many other things, right? And the world as we know it. It changed the way we engaged in shopping, which is kind of a bad thing because now I have that, what do they call it, Amazonesia, where you have Amazon packages show up and you can't remember what it was that you ordered. So, it changed the way that we dined. Now that with DoorDash and Uber Eats and even the socializing with virtual happy hours but it was the way that we adapted to those times, right? But most relevant here is that it changed the work environment because it forced a shift from managing teams in the office to managing remote and hybrid teams, right? And that's still a challenge today, even post-pandemic. And we still face having to coordinate communication and engagement across locations. I know that I'm probably not the only one here, especially if you are working for a global entity. Mine's not so much, but I do have to consider, as a Native Hawaiian organization, many of my executives are in Hawaii, so that's 6-hour time difference. So if I needed to have a meeting with them, probably in my best interest not to schedule it at 9 a.m. my time. So, but having to coordinate the teams that we manage who are across all of the time zones, where we once used to be able to quickly gather or get insights at the proverbial water cooler. We have to adapt and heavily rely on email and messaging apps, right? That quickly changed to where while Zoom, Teams, what was the other one? There was another one, but while those are certainly strong collaboration tools, but there was still a need for a strong understanding of how to manage virtual or remote teams, right? A lot of times that kind of resulted you really started to feel that when approvals were needed for certain decisions, especially if you were supporting a customer who you needed authorization from. A lot of times that can certainly impact schedules, impact the progress that you're having, and then sometimes disrupt the schedules in having to pivot. But as a real world example, schedule overruns because miscues due to spread out teams, whether it's having challenging communications or not being able to meet at regular times, that can certainly impact the success of a project. So one of the solutions here is that for PM is to integrate digital tools like Kanban boards, a digital Kanban board to manage the workflow. increasing alignment across the different regions or for the teams across different regions, and trying to maintain some of that, some of the similar look and feel of the day to day in an office. One of the things that my team did was have a regular daily stand up virtually. And while it certainly can be challenging at times, but having those regular, consistent stand ups or routines and practices always helped us to stay on schedule. Okay. You know, one of the things that I know that I certainly missed during the remote days were the opportunities where you could hash out things on whiteboards, or like I said, you can easily walk down the office to get an answer or to talk about things. But we quickly had to go to setting up meeting invites or sending out calendar invites, and that became kind of the norm now. It's like, send me a calendar invite. So, you know, on the other side of the coin, the shift to remote work created a also sometimes unrealistic expectation that at a moment's notice that someone was always going to be available. And at the start of the pandemic, my kids were both 2 and 5, and quickly became known as Hey Buddy 1 and Hey Buddy 2, because they were always popping up on the screen randomly, not knowing what was going on. I was just thinking, hey, what are you watching, Dad? And so it was mostly lighthearted and funny, but I understood that not everyone saw it that way. It was, you know, it wasn't always as convenient, especially if you had to take them and carry them off to the mom. So it really highlighted that we all have lives outside of work. Right? It really looked at the different priorities and where the workplace. Are you allergic to me? Is that what it is? That the workplace had to develop a higher level of understanding and empathy. Right? Ultimately, principals, the PMBOK principles, give guidance for PMs and remaining agile, being able to develop asynchronous workflows and integrating the right tools for teams to be able to track and monitor progress. And not everything is perfect. I know that we have, my teams have gone through multiple tools trying to get the right one that could track tasks and be able to provide notifications and do all the whiz bang stuff. But those are available, and those are some of the things that we as PMs have had to adapt to. And so, you know, with that being said, the pandemic really did have some lasting effects, right? Even with as we went to remote and hybrid teams, we started to see a shift in the workplace, and started to see, I still, you know, even though that this is in 2021, the priorities of the workforce still continues to change, and I would like to think that that I know that firsthand, that flexibility is something that many in the workforce have emphasized that is, you know, important now, right? And so it's been significantly challenging. I don't know for you all as in trying to hire qualified resources, regardless of the role or labor category, over the last 2 or 3 years, has been significantly challenging. If anybody has not found that, please talk to me after, because I would really like to know what your secrets are, or how to avoid that. But it's always nice whenever you have a team that has been consistent, that you've had a team that's been together and worked together, because not only do you have the experience or the skills, but you also have the institutional knowledge, especially on contracts where you have, you know, 4 option years, so you're essentially on a contract for 5 years. You build up a lot of institutional knowledge that doesn't easily transfer. but nothing lasts forever. Right? There's inevitably going to be a change. Someone's going to leave for a better position, which I'll go here, which is kind of the real world example that I brought up here was that where usually, especially as technology continues to advance, while there are still a lot of legacy technologies out there that still need skilled individuals, the individuals with those skills are becoming less and less available, right? And so all it takes is on a development team for one or two key individuals to leave, and suddenly that throws a lot of things into usually just say chaos. And we always reference a dumpster fire at on my team, but usually what happens is that once that one of the key individuals leaves, then you have another person who has the skills as well become overburdened, start to burn out, and things just start to go downhill from there. Your schedule gets impacted, your product becomes less quality. There's a lot more areas or opportunities for failure, right? And so resource allocation, talent shortages, I think are just going to, it's amazing where, and I think part of it is being in a bubble here in the DC or the National Capital Region. We seem to be a little bit on I would say, the very high end of when it comes to median salaries, because it can become very expensive once you start to lose people and have to hire someone or have to find somebody to replace those highly skilled individuals. It becomes very, very costly, very timely. And so there are a lot of different factors that go in to having to replace that individual. And so how do you manage that? Some of the things here that we talk about in terms of the PMI principles or methodologies is having your contingency plans, to being able to make sure that you're cross-training your teams, and then even utilizing some of the external resources that can be costly, such as external consultants, but a lot of times it's a combination of those efforts that will allow you to achieve success, project success, right? So it's a matter of optimizing your resources and preparing backup plans. And usually, even the best laid plans don't always work, right? But that's part of what I have learned over the years is that being able to kind of prepare for that. And quite honestly, it also applies outside of work.
Quick question.
Sure.
What's your take on in-house versus outsourcing, taking on subs? I think the drawback of taking on doing subs, P&L goes down. But
yes.
In the C-suite so far, and I think that culture of upskilling and becoming more technical is present in the workplace now, or it's better just to find who does it well, who's done it before, versus taking a chance on doing it for the first time?
Tough question, because I'm actually facing that right now. There is, and I'll say that one of the advantages with being a part of the organization that I am a part of is that we do have subsidiary companies within the organization that we can leverage and turn to for resources. While that doesn't necessarily help on the P&L side, it does make it a little bit more cost effective. And then at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to reach back to higher skilled, seasoned individuals that we know and can generally easily vet based off of our sister companies. And so makes it a little bit more, I guess, more comfortable to do it that way. I personally have, in the few months, we've had to steer away from going externally or even taking a chance, simply because at the stage where Malanai is, it's a matter of, establishing a reputation and being able to deliver. Right? And so that's where looking at it in the long run as an investment, right? If we make sure that we are going through the skilled individuals that are within the enterprise that we know and we trust, even though it comes a little bit more at a cost than taking a chance on somebody, it gives us a little bit more, an opportunity to build that reputation. So any other questions? Thank you. Which brings me to this last area that I really wanted to touch on. Can anybody relate to this? No, not at all. Never. Information overload. I think that I like that one meme where they talk about my mind is like it's like my web browser. It has about 20 pages open, 20 tabs, and I can't figure out where the music is coming from. So that's my 7-year-old does like to kind of feed me a lot of random things and keep me on my toes, and so that's where a lot of my information, where it was coming from, the red line, that's usually for my 7-year-old. But challenge here with the data overload and decision making is excess data without clear insights. As a PM, a lot of things that we rely on to make decisions for projects and for project goals is information, but not just information, intelligence, right? Being able to, understand what it means and be able to cut out all of the noise. But that can be difficult, right? That can be difficult, especially when you've got multiple teams that are providing information to you, who are providing metrics, providing lots of different things that help that are feeding into that decision-making process. But that's, and I'm talking to the data overload and decision-making from the PM side of things, but we know that generally our customers, and I'm speaking from my perspective, customers are looking to us to build the solutions that help their organizations to become better at decision-making, be better, whether it be faster, more profitable, more intelligent, which is why we as PMs need to have our best practices and methods when it comes to decision-making. Typically, I think one of the things that in putting together this slide made me think about a time with the development team where we had a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet that was probably, I don't know how many rows, but where you can spend so much time looking into that, trying to do the analysis of it, and that infamous paralysis by analysis phase, where you're trying to make the right decision, but you end up taking in all the information and then still not making, the most efficient or most effective decision. And so one of the things that, if your metrics or if your information is not refined, you can easily steer a project down an undesirable path. Best way to, one of the ways that I found to reduce the data overload was working with the team, working with the stakeholders to prioritize the key metrics that drive the decision making, automation of data reporting tools, and consistent discipline reporting habits. And while that helps, again, no plans are impervious. And I think that's where just having the toolkit or having a toolkit with the practices for project management methodologies and principles always helps. Right? It helps us to apply in the different scenarios that we face each and every day. So while this is by no means an exhaustive list, because there are many other challenges that, okay, I'm done. So yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up. But yeah, there's a challenge right here. But while this by no means was an exhaustive list of challenges, and so this is and you know what? It's all on YouTube. So this is this is there forever. Yeah. No, but that's essentially, you know, just maintaining, remaining cognizant of the tools that we have available as you. For those of you who have not taken the exam, or make sure you go run home and take a look at the version 8 tonight. But remaining cognizant of the tools that are available, staying flexible and adaptable. I think those are things that we've talked about multiple times. I've heard that throughout the evening here, and just being, and looking for those repeatable processes that can help PMs through even the most adverse challenges that arise in our ever-changing landscape, like right now. But don't worry, we've only got, like I said, 30 more slides. No. Actually, I wanted to take a pause, and this was it. I only wanted to cover these four I guess four key issues, because those are in my world, are probably the four most prominent ones that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Whether it's like I said, the managing remote teams. I've had some interesting conversations with some of my team members, but with the different changes in technology and how quickly it's happening, to my staffing woes that no one wants to hear about. But yeah, so while I hope that, I don't expect that this is probably not new to many of you who have been in the PM world for some time now. But hopefully it sparks some kind of thought, maybe inspires a little renewal or refresher, or if anything, at least be entertained by a couple of my jokes. So, Bill?
Question for you. Where can you take away from moving program manager to
Okay. Can you say that question again, Bill? So, key takeaway from transitioning from a program manager of a division to managing director of a company. Repeatable processes. And I say that because, a lot of things, while solutions are always going to take different shapes and different sometimes different perspectives, having repeatable processes, whether it's how you work with a team, how you develop your schedules, having that is, I think, somehow it seems that by having that repeatable approach always helps you to maintain some consistency that allows you to gauge internally just how well you're managing, whether it's a team, project, customer, or a product, And so moving into not quite the C-suite just yet. There is a suite above me, but moving into that, that's where it is. It is a little bit more challenging to maintain some of those things where I used to like to always have weekly meetings, right, with all of my division. Now it's changing a little bit because the demands are I guess somewhat that I have more people calling for my attention now. But whether it's a weekly communication that I can maintain while it's not necessarily a meeting, but trying to repeat it somehow or keep it keep it consistent in some form or fashion and adapting it to whatever the situation calls for certainly helps, and it keeps me sane. So yeah. No, absolutely. And I think documentation, well, I want to pick up just real quick one thing that you mentioned there, thorough documentation. I think that that is said so many times that we kind of take it for granted and it's not necessarily done. Well, it's never done. Yeah. Um, I think that that even translates to many of the customers that we support, especially when it comes to data and decision making. Because on the flip side of this, not just the data that we're getting to make decisions on the project, but a lot of times when we're trying to work with the customer's data, right, they are saying, "Oh, I've got so much data. I just need to be able to get the information from it." But then the reality is when they start to look at the data or have someone to look at the data for them, they start to understand that it's not really complete and it's not, in some cases, helpful, right? Or clean, yeah. And so I still remember, I actually remember one project where there was a transfer of documentation. They had, and you were talking about fully commented code. There was one section of the document where they commented on the line of code and they said the previous, I don't know who it was, but they simply just said it this just blows the program up. And that's all they left. And so they were commenting it out, and the reason why was it just blows everything up. And thought that I thought that was a unique way to comment on the code, but yeah, the documentation. I think that that's one of the things that there are there's a lot of work that goes into getting the best, best structures for, or the best continuity for repeatable processes is really starting from the beginning. And that's kind of the struggle that I don't know if anyone else has faced that with customers that you're supporting or on contract with, is starting from the beginning and saying that there's a lot of hard work that you have to do in order to get to where you want to be, right? Especially when it comes to data. But that's I don't. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's usually what we try and do, is be that element of continuity. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you again for the opportunity. And like I said, hopefully I've entertained you. Not going to do a mic drop.
Okay, another round of applause for Victor. Victor's going to be gracious enough to hang around if you want to talk to him, if there's any opportunities you'd like to discuss on partnership or the like. This wraps up our in-person 2025 program year. So thank you for being a part of it. We are still hopeful we can pull off one virtual lunch and learn later this month. And then just a reminder that we won't be here the first Wednesday of January. So if you come, you can still get a lovely meal upstairs, but we won't be here downstairs. And in order, happy Hanukkah to everyone, a happy Festivus for the rest of us, a Merry Christmas, a happy Kwanzaa, a happy New Year, and a happy winter. These holidays are going to be over. And 2026 for those who don't get anything out of the other holidays listed. Thank you for being members. We're so thankful for all of you. Friday, it looks like we're going to get some winter precipitation. So side of caution, and we'll see everyone in person, hopefully the first Wednesday of February in 2026. Thank you.